Dana White, thank you very much for joining me. I have to say, I don't know if I've seen you as fired up and as happy as I just did on that stage. You're excited to come to Utah. Tell us a little bit why you're happy breaking new ground and coming to new territories or revisiting old territories.
That's what it is. No, I like coming to new spots. And you know, this is a brand new arena. Like I said, this place isn't what it was 6 years ago when we came here. And the team that we're working with here now, too, it's just, I'm excited for the fans. I'm excited for us. I'm excited for the fighters. I think this is going to be a fun weekend. You know, this is the stuff. Being a fight fan, when you roll into a new town, like a lot of people have never been to Salt Lake City, Utah. So people are going to come here and experience the city and all the new things that they have to offer. And this arena is insane. So it's going to be a great weekend.
We're in a really funny place, right? I think you and I have sort of been to every event during the pandemic and after. And I've noticed something that you had 2 years stuck in empty arenas, but now you've opened the doors again. It's like the 2 years away has doubled the sport in size. I don't think this sport is the same as it was before the ESPN deal or before the pandemic.
100%. I mean, our fan base grew something like 47% during the pandemic, and you feel it now when you go out to these events live. Yeah, it's been a blast.
Yeah. Is that something that you obviously you lost so much money not being able to have crowds during the pandemic, but now you can like fucking triple your ticket price. Is there a sort of a moment where it's almost worth it to like deny people for 2 years and now you can like go bigger?
I don't think we're tripling the ticket prices, but you know, the thing is that, you know, they have this dynamic selling now, and you know, the sport is just so much better. The fan base grew 47%. So you have a lot more people now out there coming to the events. That's why these things are breaking records and selling out. And, you know, it's just been crazy. Plus, we were first, and we've been aggressively out there putting on events long before other people were. I mean, some of these bands still haven't toured yet and stuff like that. So, you know, it was a unique experience for us.
It's funny as well how much you can underestimate momentum, right? Like just being able to go, and now I think we're sort of seeing the Apex shows become less and less, but now when you see a live event, banger, crazy card, so the next fans who come to the next one, they want to be like, well, fuck, they had a good time, we want to have a good time too. It's like, keeps going.
Well, that's the other thing too. I mean, we've been delivering on every front, from getting out there, putting on the events, you know, putting on, you know, the production is awesome, in-house or on TV, and the fighters have just been absolutely delivering. That's why, I mean, I think we've just had 2 or 3 events in a row where I gave, you know, way more bonuses than
people are going to start expecting that every time now.
Well, keep fighting like that.
When you look at this card, you got Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman. Long time coming for Leon. I think the guy's had the worst luck possibly in the world. When you look at this fight, obviously Kamaru, it's a hard guy to ever pick against at this point. But is Leon, you know, Kamaru fought Masvidal, great striking, not great wrestling. Fought Colby, great wrestling, not great striking. Is Leon the guy who can put it all together and put a challenge towards Kamaru?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Leon Edwards is a super talented. He's the #1 guy in the world right now to take on Usman. He's a super talented guy. That whole division is stacked with incredible talent. That's why it's undeniable that Usman's the greatest welterweight ever. He's lapping guys that are, you know, incredible fighters. This isn't like some lackluster division where you got Usman and everybody else. Just straight killers in this division. And yeah, I mean, we'll find out that night what Edwards brings in here.
It's funny, right? Because those guys who dominate for so long, you know, eventually the question doesn't become like, how are they going to win? It's like, are they still motivated? Is Usman still going in the gym and training harder than these young guys coming up? Do you think he's still that professional? Do you think he's still just on top of his game?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, we just saw that. I knew. I was talking about it all week going into that Shevchenko fight. You know what I mean? All week I was talking about that Valentina fight. I said, if Valentina rips through her the way she's ripped through everybody else, wow. And you saw it was a much tougher fight for Valentina. You know, it's easier to get there than it is to stay on top. That's why it's so impressive when you have people like Valentina Shevchenko and Kamaru Usman that go on these runs.
For me, I think Jose Aldo versus Merab, I mean, that shows just 135 pound has never been better, I think. You got young guys like Adrian Yanez, Sean O'Malley, and people like that. But even from 1 to 25, you can make a great fight. When you look at Jose versus Merab, what do you think? Is that the young guy trying to kick off the old line, or is Jose still proving he's got it? When you look at that fight, what are you expecting?
100%. You know, incredible opportunity for Merab. You know, Merab came off looking for a fight we were talking about earlier, you know, and And look where he's at now. He's fighting Jose Aldo. And what's Jose? Top 5 in the world right now? You know, so this is a huge opportunity for him not only to get into the top 5, but be the legend in the sport. And obviously, Jose is phenomenal for how long he's held on and still here competing. So he could be in line for another title shot.
Well, I know there was a couple of guys at this press conference who wanted to hint at it, but didn't quite have the nerve to fully ask and say it. Would you like to see Khamzat versus Nate on this card in August?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, listen, dealing with Nate is always, you know, fun, exciting, interesting. So we're, you know, we'll see. I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't know.
Is that one of those ones where you offer him a deal and then you sort of think he's not going to take it, then he might take it, and it just kind of depends on his mood that day, or is that just?
I mean, listen, you don't have to be a rocket scientist looking and see lots of game playing and, you know, whatever. Listen, contractually we got to get him a fight. We'll get him a fight.
The last one on Nate, because I know that these questions sort of kill you, but last night he did tweet that he wants out because it's suggesting he wants to go box Jake Paul. When you see stuff like that, what is your reaction? Do you even react? Do you roll your eyes? What do you even think?
No, I mean, I like Nate. Let's be honest. Nate's won one fight in the last 5 or 6 years. You know, it's, you know, when these guys get into these positions, you got guys that have been with us for a long time that we respect, that we care about. You know, you got the Cerrones and Anthony Pettis before he left, and you got you know, Nate Diaz and Nick Diaz is still under contract with us. So you want to be fair to everybody. You want to do the right things, whatever. You know, Nate Diaz isn't going to come in and fight Kamaru Usman or. You know, so listen, we're trying to do the best we can. We're trying not to shit on anybody and disrespect anybody, but it's, you know, it's not like we're talking about Kamaru Usman here. We're talking about Nate Diaz. Nate's won one fight in 5 years, so we're trying to figure this thing out with him. He probably should go on and fight Jake Paul. That's a fight that makes sense.
Okay, just a couple more. I want to ask you about International Fight Week, because we've had a couple, right? But this one, for me, when you look at the card, this is the one that we're back. Like, the pandemic's gone. This is International Fight Week at its best. You got conference. You got, you know, Israel Adesanya on top of the card. When you look at Israel and Jared Cannonier, I believe that this sort of fight is either Israel's going to make it look easy or Jared Cannonier is going to come in there and shock the world. But either way, it's going to be exciting. When you look at that fight, what do you think?
Yeah, you know, you have Israel saying, belt's great, love the belt, it's been great to me, da-da-da-da-da. I want to go in and put on exciting fights, and I want to do fun stuff, and I want to pull
And about 5 times a year as well.
Exactly. He wants to not fight nonstop. He wants to, you know, he wants to pull off, you know, spectacular moves in the fight and all this stuff. What's more fun than that, man? What's cooler than that? I look forward to it. Cannonier is a guy that I've been high on for a long time. Finally got his wrestling in order, and we'll see how it plays out.
When he was screaming at you through the cage saying, "I'm next," how terrifying a moment was that?
I always got somebody yelling at me about something.
That's true. Yeah. And lastly, Volkanovski, he did a press conference in Sydney yesterday. You know, this fight with Max, there's a lot of, it's funny, he's got 2 wins over Max, but it feels like there's a lot on the line here. You know, if Max wins, maybe you do a 4th one, but Volkanovski says if he beats Max, he wants to move up to lightweight and fight for the title up there. You know, sometimes you have to wait and see how these things play out. But is it exciting to have a guy who's one of the pound-for-pound greats try and challenge himself, try and move up and try and fight for that 2nd title?
What is the question?
Do you like Volkanovski at 155?
Yeah, you know, so Volkanovski...
I tried to, like, pad it out to make it more exciting.
So Volkanovski is one of those guys who has earned the respect of everybody, I would say, by now. You know, he's got this Holloway fight that probably makes sense for him to do this and put this behind him. Then you don't have to hear about it anymore. And that guy can do whatever he wants to do. I mean, if he wants to move up and challenge somebody at 55 or whatever he want to do, I'm down for whatever he wants.
It's a great time to be a fan of this sport, isn't it?
Unbelievable. Yeah, it could not be any better. Could not be more fun than right now.